This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
It was just over 2 months ago that Los Angeles was burning. They were rioting. The people of L.A. were very upset. Politicians, Karen Bass, Gavin Newsom, all the local Democrats were very upset that the Trump administration was attempting to get illegal alien criminals, drug dealers, gang members out of their community. And they were doing everything they could to stop them, including setting fires, trashing cars, attacking federal buildings. And Donald Trump decided to send in some National Guard members to protect the ICE agents who were under fire. We saw at least one protester shoot a gun. Another one fired threw a Molotov cocktail at federal agents. It was quite the skirmish. And at that time, I think it was Chuck Todd noted that there was something interesting about Trump's decision. He said, the only place Donald Trump has ordered federal troops was in Los Angeles, not in Yemen, not in Iraq, not in Afghanistan, just Los Angeles. And Chucky and his friends were like, ooh, isn't that disturbing? And I'm thinking at the time, nothing kind of highlighted the divide between the ruling class or the establishment in D.C. and MAGA world like that. They thought Chuck Todd thought there was an indictment on Trump. That was a criticism of Trump, that the only place he was sending federal troops was in a U.S. city. And I stopped and I thought, this is perfect. This just crystallizes the dispute, the divide here. I thought it was good sending federal troops to restore order in a U.S. city, to protect federal agents in a U.S. city and not in Yemen or Somalia or Iraq or Iran or anywhere else. That was the promise Trump made, ending stupid foreign wars, stop wasting money, setting money on fire to continue fighting halfway around the world. That's what he's going to do. And this week, it's going to be a fascinating drama unfolding here in this country, in the nation's capital, and in Alaska, as far as ways you can get from the nation's capital. What are they going to do? What is Chuck Todd and Kristen Welker and Rachel Maddow and The View and Jimmy Kimmel and Colbert, what are they going to do if Trump meets with Putin Friday in Alaska and actually achieves peace? I know he promised he would do it on day one. That was hyperbole. Nobody thought it was going to take 24 hours to end the worst war in Europe since World War II. But you know what he's doing? He's trying, damn it. He is trying. I think we forget what it was like the last 4 years. We don't even have an answer to the question of why. Why was Joe Biden, why was the Biden regime so determined to fan the flames of this foreign war, to keep it going, to continue the killing? I thought when Trump came out initially talking about this during the debates, during the primaries, during the campaign, and said, I just want to stop the killing. He brings out the numbers. 14,000 troops died, whatever, last week. Are those accurate numbers? Probably not. But thousands and thousands of young men in Russia and Ukraine were dying. And the last president never mentioned it. Joe Biden never mentioned, let's stop the killing. Let's stop the dying. It never made any sense. And it still doesn't to this day. Why did we want to accelerate, to inflame, to continue this stupid war, which was over slivers of land and Ukraine's potential membership in NATO? It seemed to me that it made no sense from the beginning. We talked about this in that February when Russia first went into Ukraine. What's going to happen here? We asked the question then, and we still ask it today, 3.5 years later. How can Ukraine win? We were on Ukraine's side. Of course we were. Ukraine was attacked. But in what way, other than negotiating a settlement, does Ukraine prevail. It was never possible. Joe Biden would never admit that. All the fools, the clowns he had on his foreign policy team, Blinken and Sullivan and these guys, they never admitted it. They never explained how Ukraine could win. Did we want Ukraine to win? Of course. But Ukraine couldn't win. Ukraine is too small. Russia has nukes. Russia's got 145 million people. Russia was going to prevail, or someone was going to negotiate a truce and they could both declare victory. That's what Trump is trying to do this Friday in Alaska. And right now in this country, the media, the Democrats, the establishment, they are hoping he fails. They are hoping that he doesn't achieve peace. They cringe every time he announces a settlement. The Armenian settlement, Rwanda settlement, India and Pakistan. He's making deals left and right. As he says, he ends a war per month. But this is the big one. This is huge. If he can sit down with Putin, this is Putin's first time on American soil since 2019. This is major. And you know what? Joe Biden couldn't and wouldn't do this. We needed a new president to end that war. Kamala Harris, of course, couldn't do it. Just the thought, the idea of Kamala Harris, she's the one that kicked the war off when she went to Europe and talked about Ukraine joining NATO. The idea that Kamala Harris could ever sit down with Putin, just the idea of it, the thought of it is comical. We needed Trump. That was the only chance we had to end this stupid foreign war, which we have spent between $200 and $350 billion on. I just looked this up. Russia's annual budget, military budget for the entire military, ours is close to $1 trillion. Russia's is $140 billion. $140 billion a year for their entire military. We have sent Ukraine twice what Russia spends per year on the military. And under Biden, we weren't supposed to ask why. I will tell you the moment I decided that this was insane, that we were we were laundering money, we were paying somebody off. It just wasn't on the level. Do we have a date on this, Ironhead? August, I think it was in August 2022. Here's Joe Biden explaining where your tax money was going. We weren't supposed to ask because Russia bad, Putin evil. We're just sending money. We didn't have to send people. We were sending money. I remember Eric Swalwell said it was brilliant. There were people dying, but they weren't Americans. So Ukrainians and Russians were dying. And an American congressman said, that's wonderful. Remember Josh Shapiro, who might be the next nominee for Democrats, signing missiles with Zelensky, signing missiles like he was autographing a picture to send to Ukraine to kill Russians. It was a bizarre, strange death cult for 3 years under this corrupt president. And here he is talking about where your money's going. We were asking this question all the time. We have arms, we have missiles, we have weapons. We can sell them to them. I have no problem with that. I feel the same way about Israel. Why do we have to give Israel anything? They have a better economy than we do. They have a better quality of life than we do. They have a smaller deficit per capita than we do. So why do we give them things and not sell them things? We could sell Ukraine or Europe, NATO, sell them things and they could give them to Ukraine. Why do we have to give them anything? Well, here is Joe Biden explaining on this day 3 years ago why we had to take money out of your paycheck and send it to Ukraine. Go ahead.
Deliver much needed humanitarian assistance as well as food, water, medicine, shelter, and other aid to Ukrainians displaced by Russia's war, and provide aid for those seeking refuge in other countries from Ukraine. It's also going to help schools and hospitals open. It's going to allow pensions and social support to be paid to the Ukrainian people so they have something in their pocket. It's also going to provide critical resources to address food shortages around the globe.
What? So we were sending money to Ukraine to fight Russia, but solving food shortages around the globe. That right there That's corruption. That's USAID. That is the money that never leaves D.C. But to me, the thing that struck me, and we talked about it before that, you were paying, you, me, we were paying for the pensions of bureaucrats in Ukraine. We were making sure they had some money in their pocket. When did that become the job of American taxpayers? To make sure Ukrainian bureaucrats, federal workers in Ukraine, whatever it is, 7,000 miles away, a place no one could find on a map, no one cared about until 3 years ago. We were making sure their federal workers had money in their pocket. What the hell was this really about? Will we ever know why we were sending billions and billions to this war where, again, the land has changed hands, slivers of lands, small percentages of lands have changed hands. And that's in the American interest. That's in our interest to make sure bureaucrats had had money in their pocket. I don't have a pension. Most Americans don't have a pension. I believe the number's down to like 10% of Americans have pensions. Most of them are government employees, but they have pensions in Ukraine, and you, the American taxpayer, are paying it. This was an insane time in the United States. This president was so corrupt. This whole administration was so corrupt. Someday, I hope, I pray, we find out why the hell we were so invested in this stupid foreign war. And I pray Trump ends it on Friday, at least begins the process of ending it, because it's not worth another nickel. It is not. It was never worth sending billions and billions. We are 37 trillion in debt, and we're sending 300 billion, and thousands of young men and not so young men in Ukraine, where they draft 60-year-olds and guys with special needs, and throw them to the front line. They're dying. For what? Joe Biden could never explain it. All he could say was Putin bad. That's all Democrats could say. Putin bad, Putin evil, Putin Hitler. And now what? When you look back on 3 years and you find out, 800,000 people died, will anyone in the Biden administration explain why? What that was for? What we got out of it? J.D. Vance was on yesterday with Maria Bartiromo, asked about this, and I think he nails it. I think he speaks for 100 million Americans here. We're sick of wasting money on stupid foreign wars. Listen to the VP.
To your point about weapons, what we said to the Europeans is simply, first of all, this is in your neck of the woods. This is in your back door. You guys have got to step up and take a bigger role in this thing. And if you care so much about this conflict, you should be willing to play a more direct and a more substantial way in funding this war yourself. I think the president, and I certainly think that America, we're done with the funding of the Ukraine war business. We want to bring about a peaceful settlement to this thing. We want to stop the killing. But Americans, I think, are sick of continuing to send their money, their tax dollars to this particular conflict. But if the Europeans want to step up and actually buy the weapons from American producers, we're okay with that, but we're not going to fund it ourselves anymore.
Excellent answer from our 48th president right there. I mean, we are sick of funding this. We have never been told the truth. We have never been told the exit strategy, the end game. What happens at the end of this? Joe Biden never even met. It's amazing. We had a president during this war sending money who never spoke to Putin, not once, not a phone call, not even an unsuccessful negotiation, never even tried. Look it up. Joe Biden never mentioned settling, peace settlements, peace talks, ceasefire, never said those words. All he wanted to do was keep this going because somebody got rich, and it wasn't just pensioners in Ukraine. Well, Trump will never send troops, I'm convinced, to this hellhole, to Ukraine, to this pointless foreign conflict. But he is sending troops, we think, we hope, in D.C. This is another, in my mind, another one of these 80-20 deals. Trump is speaking right now, talking about deploying the National Guard. He's going to send reportedly up to 1,000 National Guardsmen on the streets of our nation's capital. And this is a great idea. You know why? Because the people there who live there, who work there, want it. It doesn't matter whether they're Republican, Democrat, white, black, old, young. You know what people want to see? They want to see 15-year-old gangbangers disarmed. The idea that you have 14 and 15-year-olds roaming the city at 3 a.m. shooting people, and the DC police can't stop it. Well, Trump has every right. He has an obligation to do something about this, and he is. Here is his True Social post, and classic Trump style. Washington, D.C. will be liberated today. Crime, savagery, filth, and scum will disappear. I will make our capital great again. The days of ruthlessly killing or hurting innocent people are over. I quickly fixed the border, 0 illegals in 3 months. D.C. is next. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, obviously, if Trump does it, Democrats have to oppose it. Trump does it, the media has to oppose it. Well, good luck on this one, because again, they're going to tell you, here's what they're going to say. Crime is down. There's no reason to do this. Tell that to the poor kid, the UMass student who was murdered at the end of June, the UMass intern at DC. They haven't caught the killer. His family's totally destroyed. You want to say, oh, crime is down. Crime is down 7%. Murder is up. We have one of the highest murder rates in the world in our nation's capital, as we've gone over, higher than Bogota, Colombia, higher than Mexico City. And if you say crime is down, you have to understand it was really high last year. It was really high. So if it's down 7%, that's not much of an improvement. And that doesn't mean we don't need federal agents to get in there and crack down. And you know what? Think of the people. Think of the residents. Think of the tourists, the shop owners, the store owners, the bar owners, restaurant owners. You don't think they welcome this? I mean, unless you're totally consumed with hatred of Trump, you look at this and you say, why the hell not? We have troops available right there in the nation's capital. Why not go in there and help the local cops disarm the gangbangers and protect the city? We have this quick clip of them just talking. I've seen like 5 or 6 of these man on the street interviews. Nobody who lives there, who works there, nobody says, oh no, this is a bad idea. This is militaristic. You have to, maybe Chuck Todd has a problem with this. You know, maybe Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert will rip him for this, but the people who live there, the victims, the potential victims, they're all in on this. Check this out.
It's awesome that we have extra police presence to keep everybody safe and have them coming back.
Well, I guess they was going to stop the crime. Yeah, it's necessary.
A White House official says tourist attractions and other known hotspots are the top priorities, with MPD also joining this enforcement. We saw a number of MPD cruisers patrolling 8th Street, a Secret Service officer at Logan Circle, U.S. Park Police by the National Mall, and multiple MPD officers at Benning Road.
Hey, just sending them there, just seeing that right there in hot spots, you know, like the place where Big Balls was beaten to a pulp, protecting his girlfriend from carjacking. I fully anticipate all the media today, as Trump announces this, saying, "Oh, it's going overboard. You don't need this. Crime is down." But the idea that it's unsafe to walk around our capital city, to walk around and look at, you know, all the memorials and all the statues and all the historic buildings at the White House and the Capitol and the Lincoln Memorial, that it's unsafe, that should be unacceptable to everybody. It doesn't matter. This is something Biden should have done, or Trump won, or Obama should have done. It's a federal, the federal, you know, area. So why not use federal troops to protect, or at least deter? And when are we going to find out why there are so many 15-year-olds out at 3 a.m. with guns, carjacking? That should have concerned everybody. This should be welcome. This should be one of those things that everybody says, good move, Donald Trump. But people, the media, are incapable of doing that, and they will never do that. Maybe we can turn around some of Trump's comments here and some of the questions. I'm guarantee it's going to be, but crime's down. Why are we doing this? Again, ask the people who live there, those people you just saw. Ask the residents, the shop owners, the store owners, the tourists, people walking the streets. Do you think it's a good idea to have DHS and Secret Service and Capitol Police cruising around town? They're going to say, of course. Again, one of those Trump common sense things, 80-20 issues. Good move by Donald Trump. He just said D.C. has been taken over by violent gangs. D.C.'s our nation's capital, taken over by violent gangs, and you don't think we should send in the troops? Chuck Todd would prefer they go to Yemen or maybe to Ukraine. Maybe we could do that, Chucky. Nope, they're going to our nation's capital, and it's a great thing. All right, we got much more to get to. We got JB back ribs. Pritzker gets embarrassed again. I don't think a media tour for Pritzker, the obese governor of Illinois, was a good idea. I think the more we learn, the more we understand just what hypocrites the Democrats are on this issue, on this redistricting issue. And if you thought last week's appearance in New York from Liz Warren, the fake Indian, with Kami Mandami was cringeworthy and embarrassing, wait till you see what they posted over the weekend. Oh my God, is it just, again, it's the job of elected Democrats in Massachusetts to wake up every day and embarrass, humiliate their constituents. And Liz did it again over the weekend. We'll get to that and more. But first,
Excuse me.
if you've ever searched for your name or address on Google, it's shocking to find how many results have your personal information, and it's not by chance. Data brokers and people search sites, collect your personal information, your name, address, phone number, financial info, income, and hundreds of other records. They sell it and share it publicly without your consent. But Incogni is here to put an end to that. It hunts down these unethical sites and gets your info removed from the places that expose your private information. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle the entire process for you. Incogni is also continually monitoring if your data is put back into these databases, requesting repeated removals. This way, it keeps them off there forever. So you get fewer spam calls, spam emails, and you get more peace of mind. And best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you get 60% off an annual plan by going to incogni.com and use code word Callahan. That's incogni, incogni.com/Callahan, and use the code word Callahan at checkout. You get 60% off and protect your data for an entire year. Trump's talking now about no cash bail and says it's a disaster. He's so right. It's the dumbest. It's this, faculty lounge idea that, no cash bail. It's not fair to people that have bail because some people have more money than others. Well, too bad. It's about protecting the community. No cash bail is a disaster wherever it's done. And he's railing against it right now, as well he should. And he's ripping Democrats. See if we can get something out of that ironhead and turn it around. But let me just say that this redistricting fight, which the Democrats are they're galvanizing around, the Texas Democrats who fled the state, and they're making an issue and they're promising to fight back. I don't think it's working. I don't think the strategy is working. You know why? Because it's pretty simple, not complicated. Sometimes issues are complicated and you don't quite grasp all the details, all the nuance. In this case, all you have to do is put up a map of any blue state, as I did with Massachusetts, showing Ayanna Pressley's district, which literally looks like a salamander, where you got the term gerrymandering, when the governor, Gerry, turned a district into a salamander-shaped thing to get for political reasons. And Ayanna Pressley's saying, it's a racist and it's anti-democratic to gerrymander, even though she benefited from gerrymander. And they're all like that. The worst state of all is Illinois, where most of the Texas Democrats ran to. Illinois, bad move, bad strategic move. And then they have this blob, JB Pritzker, out there as their spokesman. He went on with Colbert, of all people, last week. And Colbert, to his credit, I don't think I've ever said that. To his credit, Colbert held up the map of Chicago and said, what is this? I mean, one district is just a sliver across the strait, all designed to block Republicans, to keep Republicans out of those House seats, and they succeeded. Trump got 40-something% of the vote. Illinois, they have 14 of 17 seats. Democrats do. That's the goal. Massachusetts, Trump got 36% of the vote. 0 Republican seats. 9-0. That's the goal. That's what they're trying to do. That's what they will continue to do. And Pritzker was on the media, doing the media rounds again. Again, he went on with a friendly face, Kristen Welker, a Democrat operative with a press pass, but even she calls out JB back ribs, and he has no answer. Listen to the question's an obvious one. Don't you do this? Didn't you already do this? That's the question for all Democrats. Didn't you do this? They asked Kathy Hochul, they asked Maura Healey. You did this already. You're not fighting fire with fire. You've already done that. And Pritzker has no answer. Listen to this empty, vacuous slob. Go ahead.
Every major group that grades the fairness of congressional maps gives your state an F. Common Cause, a nonpartisan government watchdog, even says your map, and I'm going to quote, represents a nearly perfect model for everything that can go wrong with redistricting. And I guess the question is, you talk about preserving democracy. How do you preserve democracy if you're using the same tactics that you've criticized Texas Republicans for?
But as I say, what they're talking about is a distraction. The reality is that the violation of people's voting rights is what Texas is attempting to do. That's what's wrong with their efforts right now. And the fact that the president of the United States knows it and nevertheless is asking them to do it. That is what's wrong with what we're seeing right now. Democracy is at stake.
It ain't working, JB. Democracy's at stake. Good for Kristen Welker, good for Colbert, pointing out he did it first. He did it more egregiously. He did it, and it worked. Again, 14 of 17 seats in a purple state, essentially, go to Democrats because of what this guy did. And he stands up and says, oh, democracy's at stake. And the difference is the president knows about it? What does that matter? I look forward to Greg Abbott doubling down, keep going, and other red state governors like DeSantis doing the same thing. No more messing around. Democrats fight dirty. Time to fight dirty. Speaking of fighting dirty, is this Trump talking about D.C. and reestablishing law and order in our nation's capital? Whoa, what a controversial take that is. Is this Trump live?
This isn't live. This is a clip from the speech just happened.
Okay, this is what he just said about sending in the troops to our nation's capital. Go ahead.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back. We're taking it back. Under the authorities vested in me as the President of the United States, I'm officially invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia Home Rule Act. You know what that is? And placing the D.C. Metropolitan Police Department under direct federal control. And you'll be meeting the people that will be directly involved with that. Very good people, but they're tough, and they know what's happening, and they've done it before. In addition, I'm deploying the National Guard to help reestablish law, order, and public safety in Washington, D.C., and they're going to be allowed to do their job properly.
You know what? They should have invited the family of Eric Tarpinian Jackham, the UMass intern who was working in D.C. on June 30th, just shot, randomly killed, dead. This 20-year-old kid from Massachusetts. His family was on with Rob Finney the other night. They're just ruined. They just got it destroyed. They should, they've been good at that, bringing in victims of illegal alien crime. They should bring in the victims of gang violence in D.C. No one arrested, and we don't even have any suspects. Nobody's told the family anything. It's sickening, disgusting. In our nation's, if you should be able to walk around one place in the whole country, it should be D.C. Just walk around. Take in all the history, all the sites, but you can't because 15-year-olds with guns are in control. And Trump is saying that Trump said gangs control D.C. And at least they do at night. And he's doing something about it, which is a wonderful thing. We'll wait for this to happen in New York because it's going to. New York is heading down a road to ruin, man. And we've talked about it a lot, but it's worth discussing what's going to happen in New York. The next mayor, Zoran Mamdani, is a radical, communist, Islamist, cop-hating anti-Semite. He's your next mayor. He's going to win. The three challengers, none of them appear willing to drop out. I'm not sure if they drop out, if Cuomo or Eric Adams is even capable of winning. I know Curtis Lee was not. This is a product of a corrupt education system where we don't teach kids the evils of communism. We don't teach them the failures of socialism. And all the white kids, as we showed you, the headquarters of Zamdami when he won the primary, all white kids, 27, 28, nose rings, piercings, and just children of privilege like him. He grew up fabulously wealthy. His father's a professor at Columbia, a radical professor, by the way. His father, one of his famous papers, essays, made the claim that suicide bombing is a legitimate weapon of war and they should not be stigmatized. Yeah, that was his father. His mother's a radical left-wing film producer or director. He grew up rich. He's still rich, and he lives in a rent-controlled apartment. If that's not perfect, I don't know what is. And he is called repeatedly to defund the NYPD and said they're fascist, anti-queer. They're anti-queer. Someone's got to kind of point out the contradiction between a devout Muslim and a guy who is all in on LGBTQ issues, who wants to spend millions of taxpayer dollars on sex change for kids. That doesn't seem to mesh from my perspective. But if you thought it was cringy watching Liz Warren with this commie last week, check out what they posted over the weekend. Oh my God, this is just so uncomfortable to watch. This is a U.S. sitting senator in JFK's old seat endorsing a communist, endorsing government-owned grocery stores, endorsing defunding the police and sending social workers to domestic abuse calls. That's his agenda. And she's all in. My senior senator. Watch this.
There you go, Mark Zuckerberg. So Mark Zuckerberg gets to buy another island.
I was trying to hold in a cough and I started crying.
Oh, I thought you were just being tender. I feel the same way. I bring this out in people. I really do. It's fun.
Have some water.
That's like a blooper, and they post it to show that they're just two Democrats having fun, fake laughing. She's hugging him. She's hugging the guy that will not condemn, globalize the Intifada. She's hugging the guy who wants to defund the NYPD, and he's going to be mayor, and people are going to quit. Cops are going to quit. They're going to retire. Millionaires and billionaires are going to move. Business is going to leave. Crime is going to get worse. And then what will she say? Then, I mean, will they admit that it was a bad idea? He's going to be mayor of New York City, and AOC's all in. Bernie's all in. Kathy Hochul hasn't endorsed him. Most elected Democrats in New York have not endorsed him, but my senator has. What the hell what is she going to say? What is she going to say when New York goes to hell? As Kevin O'Leary predicted, nobody is going to invest in New York when they have a communist mayor. And it's happening all over the place. It's happening in Minneapolis. You got another Zamdami-like radical from Somalia who barely speaks English, and he's going to be the next mayor of Minneapolis. That's not going to end well. That's not going to go well. I'm telling you, it is a scary time. And Liz, she's going to be there. She's going to be campaigning for him in New York City, begging all her fellow angry old white ladies to vote for the commie. All right, we got more to get to. What else do I have here? You know what? I want to do this story about Trump's border wall because it's great. The headline is Trump gets his border wall back. He does. You know, I don't know. I'm not sick of winning quite yet. Not sick of winning, but it just keeps coming. Trump, as we know, Joe Biden sold Trump's border wall. One of the first things he did. Here's the headline. Trump gets his border wall back. Biden sold $350 million worth of unused Trump border wall for pennies on the dollar. We remember that story. Now, in a stunning reversal, the auctioneer is sending them back to the feds to finish the wall. And they're getting a good price. When Biden took office, his first move was to stop the wall. He called it not a serious policy solution and sold the materials off dirt cheap. In some cases, $1 a panel. Taxpayers ate the loss. The waste was massive. Biden, up to $350 million in materials just sitting in the desert, $130,000 a day to guard them. Then he sold them for pennies on the dollar. One batch of 729 steel beams went for $154,000. Texas bought $12 million at auction to build their own wall. Remember that? Border Patrol officials said the sold-off parts could pretty much be utilized to secure the border. Now the auctioneer, GovPlanet, it's called, says it's cutting a deal with the Trump team to return the materials at cost. A third-party construction firm will receive them over the next 90 days. GovPlanet released a statement. We are expediting the transfer of these materials to support the administration's border protection plans. We value our partnership with the U.S. government. That is so great. This is what we voted for, undoing everything, reversing everything Joe Biden and Barack Obama did for 4 years. And this is such a good example. Good for this this contractor, GovPlanet. That is a patriotic move. And the wall's getting built, and this time for real. Last time, Congress wouldn't give him $5 billion to build a wall. This time, hell, he doesn't need that. We already have the materials. And that is going to be a continued story of success. Nobody coming over the border. And ICE, our agents, federal agents, continuing to to round up the worst of the worst. Here's a story that broke over the weekend, which is just so, it really is illuminating. You have one party, particularly in, deep blue places like New England, California, whose top priority is illegal alien criminals. I'm not exaggerating. If you follow like Democrats like Ayanna Pressley, Ed Markey, or Chris Murphy, or other New England Democrats, this is what they're most concerned with. Kristen Clark, this is what they tweet about, they talk about, is protecting illegal alien criminals. And they don't care what crimes they've committed. They know Trump's determined to get them out, so they are determined to keep them here. Could be the greatest checkmate move Trump's ever made. You have people like Chris Van Hollen, El Salvador, have with a gangbanger and a human trafficker and a wife beater. And then you have people like Karen Bass saying that the city's going to shut down because we don't have illegal alien gang members roaming the streets. Well, in Rhode Island, another place just run by total nutcases like Sheldon White's Only, the senator from Rhode Island who belongs to an all-white beach club and is really concerned with, all the racist policies of the Trump administration. But check out this video. This is an illegal alien convicted of molesting a child from Guatemala, I believe. Let me get the details. And this is what they do in Rhode Island. This is literally them letting him walk out of court. And as soon as he does, 1, 2, 3, 4 ICE agents come running and arrest him, and he'll be deported. But I follow this pretty closely, and I will never get this. I will never understand this. I understand, some things Democrats believe in. I understand, they want higher taxes and they want, endless wars. But why do you want him in your community? Why? Could someone, maybe on the chat in the comment line, why would you want a convicted child molester in your neighborhood, in your community? What's the advantage? What's the point? Can someone explain that to me? Anybody? Could you explain it to me, Ironhead? I'm going to put it on you.
I literally couldn't even make a joke that would make any sense. It's the most confusing thing that the government's doing right now.
And the police in Portsmouth said that they did cooperate with federal agents, and then we saw this video.
I'm assuming they were like, we're letting him out, be here at this time.
Then that's not cooperating. What if he made a run for it? What if they didn't go to the right door? Cooperating is, come on in, ICE guys. Come on in. We have a really bad hombre here. Come on in and arrest him. It's not cooperating when you let him walk out. And you know what? If they did tip off ICE, that will piss off every Democrat in that state, and they'll be railing against ICE. And they don't have enough innocent abuelas. I know that's their goal, to find people who've committed no crimes, just working hard. Well, if they could find them, you'd hear about them. It's just one bad dude, one criminal, one rapist, and there's so many of them who've committed sex crimes. And I don't know why that is, but we have a lot of sexual predators that Joe Biden led into the country. And I think most people would agree it's a good thing that Trump is trying to get them the hell out. And I'm all in. Democrats fighting, stopping, protesting, keep going, Democrats. Yes, he's from Guatemala, and he was convicted of sex crimes. And Portsmouth police, the Portsmouth court, let him walk out, and that's how they have to get them. And as Todd Lyons, the acting director, said, when you look at the video, see what's required. 5 ICE agents. If they cooperated and called the ICE and said, come on in, you would need 1. You need 1 guy, maybe 2, handcuff them, take them in. But because they let them go, because Democrats, as we know, are determined to keep illegal aliens here and counting them in the census and making sure they keep their power, they will not cooperate, even if it's someone who raped a kid. And I mean, I guess I should be glad, because, again, this is not an 80-20. This is a 98-2 issue. Do you want illegal alien child molesters in your community? That would be 100% no for Republicans, and I don't know, 90% no for Democrats, but not the elected officials, not Sheldon Whitehouse, not Liz Warren. They want that guy to live among you, because that guy helps them in congressional apportionment and make sure they continue, that they hold onto their power. It's really sick, and it's really a great winning issue for Republicans and Trump. And it's going to get worse for Democrats. I got news for you. They are fully funded now. They are hiring left and right, giving big bonuses to people who want to chase down illegal aliens in your community. All right, before we go, I just have to congratulate. Maybe, you know what? I might actually have a Bud Light again. Haven't had a Bud Light since, the Dylan Mulvaney controversy, where this freak from Harvard hired Dylan Mulvaney to sell the beer. Well, they got a new spokesman. Do you know who this is, Ironhead? Do you know who they hired? And they already had Shane Gillis, which is a great move. That was a good move. But this, I think, maybe that might be even bigger.
I don't know who the new one is now.
The new spokesman, Peyton Manning.
Oh, perfect.
Maybe Brady turned it down. That is a good move. They're waking up. The country is healing. Instead of this guy pretending to be a little girl, pretending to be a teenage girl, which is what Dylan Mulvaney does, in the bathtub with Bud Light, which was the greatest disaster, marketing disaster in American history, hell, in world history. It caused billions and billions and billions. Bud Light may never recover, but at least they've woken up, and they hired Shane Gillis, and now their spokesman for football season will be Peyton Manning. Good move, Bud Light. Yeah, you know what? Maybe you gotta admit when they have seen the error of their ways, woken up, and now they're going to go try to appeal to actual beer drinkers. Imagine thinking it'll never. They should be teaching that in marketing classes in every college. They're probably not, but you're actually thinking, let's appeal. Remember, she said, we don't want all that frat boy humor. We want to be lighter and freer, and we're going to hire a guy who pretends he's a little girl in the bathtub. That's an idea. They should study that forever. The worst marketing move in history of marketing, and now they're waking up. The country's healing, and Shane Gillis and Peyton Manning are the spokespeople for.
Speaking of quarterbacks, what did you make of Brady's statue?
It was fine. I'm not a big statue guy. Every time I look at them, I think they should be for like war heroes.
I actually thought his looked like him, though.
His looks good. His is much better than most. It's a good little statue, and I thought he gave a good speech, made some jokes, and if anyone deserves it, it's him. And Bobby Orr statue I like because I love Orr, And, Bill Russell statue, you got to be selective, but let's be honest. No one, if you're going to have a statue in Foxborough, it would be him and him only. I don't think Bill Belichick's getting a statue anytime soon, but, Brady earned it. You can make the case like Brady is the only guy, and you don't have to suddenly start lowering the bar and saying, oh, what about, Randy Moss or Teddy Bruschi or Gronk? I mean, no, just one statue. Tom Brady, and we're done. That makes sense. Then you can have one at the Garden, Bobby Orr, or two, Bobby Orr and Bill Russell, and have one at Fenway, Ted Williams. How's that? One statue for each team. That's my rule. I don't like, building I always wonder that. What if you build a statue of a guy and then, a week later he gets busted for beating up his wife or something? Then what? You got to take it down? You got to rip it down like it's Teddy Roosevelt?
Isn't there like 5 statues around Fenway?
Yeah, there are others. Yeah, there are others. And, I guess they're good marketing. Tourists take pictures and pose in front of them. I go by the Garden all the time, and there's always people around the Orr statue because it's cool. He's flying through the air after that goal to beat St. Louis to win the cup. That is a cool statue. He's not just standing there. But Brady, Brady earned it. He deserved it. And it looks pretty good. It does not look bad. And he did a good job. When Brady lets his hair down like he used to do on the radio, he's pretty funny. He's a wise ass. He likes to swear. He likes to make fun of people. After the big Trump controversy, when we were on the radio with him, he just shut it down and became just another boring athlete. He stopped swearing. He stopped talking about things other than, the last game. And maybe he'll come out of his shell and he'll work at it and become a really good broadcaster because that's his life. That's his livelihood. And he is one hardworking dude. So I think he'll end up being a really good broadcaster at some point. Like Chris Collinsworth, Tony Romo. Maybe he'll be better than those guys. We'll see. All right. That will do it for today. This crazy Monday. Trump's still talking about sending in the troops. Now it's up to Democrats to explain why this is a bad idea. Good luck. As always, good luck, Democrats. You're on the wrong side of this one. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we'll do it again tomorrow.
The evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election. And